We are getting into Oscar season, and as we talked about when we were in Puerto, you can always tell it's Oscar season when the slave movies start coming out. Oh, oh, my Lord! All the slave trailers sound the same. They always start like that. You know it's a slave movie as soon as you hear those notes. You know a slave movie. Here we go. Oscar bait.
So I know the second version of Color Purple came out.
For it's me, a musical now. The Color Purple's a drama. Now these niggas are happy and smiling and dancing and clapping.
Can we do a movie about the heart surgeon? Can we do a movie about Frederick Douglass and Dubois? Americans say Du Bois. There are so many other features of the African American experience that I'm going to take my time going to see The Color Purple for a number of reasons. First of all, the original to me is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I think it's an almost perfect movie. So I don't like when almost perfect or perfect movies are remade. I don't know why. I don't see why. I don't see the purpose. Yes. Nonetheless, it's on my roster of things to do this season of Earth. I saw Saltburn and the new Martin Scorsese movie, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yes.
Beautiful. Saltburn to me, it was almost perfect. Everybody is a scene stealer. How they nailed a cast down like that is it was I thought it was amazing. Very much in the realm of the talented Mr. Ripley. But with an interesting era take, because they do it in like mid 2000s or something, so it's kind of interesting that was the era they picked. But the music, the foreshadowing, every word. I mean, what a brilliant film! I can't say enough about it. I saw the Bayard Rustin film as well. I did not think it was a great film. I thought it was a good film. But Mr. Domingo, who plays Bayard Rustin, to me, deserves to be nominated for an Oscar. I think he nails that role. Proud to say my students were taught that in my class when I was a public school teacher on the West Coast. So my kids will know who Bayard Rustin is. But because so many states, over a dozen states, have eliminated African-American studies from the curriculum, so many students are not familiar with his story. Mm-hmm. So it is a wonderful movie. It is well worth seeing. And I can't say enough about that cast. What say you?
What is the name of this movie about Mr. Rustin? Because that's actually not on my radar, and I'm disappointed in myself.
Lord, I think it might be the Bayard Rustin movie, but let me check.
That'd be a cool name.
Hang on, Rustin.
Oh, it's called Rustin. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah, for some reason I was blanking. But yes, it is called Rustin. Let me bring up a few details about it, because I definitely think Coleman Domingo, who plays Bayard Rustin, nails it from what I know of Bayard Rustin. Again, for those of us who are just catching up and chatting about what's going on, a little background on Bayard Rustin is that he was basically the mastermind behind a lot of the events that took place under the representation of Martin Luther King. So he was very instrumental in the March on Washington. He's the brainchild behind Martin Luther King, and has pretty much been erased from history, other than my classroom with my students. Hello, West Coast, you know who you are. He was not represented because he was an openly gay African-American man. Mm-hmm. So again, Martin Luther King, there can be no words for the sacrifices that man made to move the needle for Black people and all oppressed people in this country. But Martin Luther King was not ready to take on the LGBT issue at the time. So it is interesting. And I would imagine that probably had a lot to do with his his foundation in Christianity. He was a minister after all. But nonetheless, he worked closely with Bayard Rustin, knowing he was a gay man. So that I think is a testimony to Martin Luther King's openness to understanding what Bayard Rustin makes a point in the movie to say is we're either fighting for everybody's rights or we're not. Everybody or we're not. There is no in between. It's a beautiful movie. I recommend you seeing it. Coleman Domingo steals the stage as Bayard Rustin. The cast is awesome as well. Chris Rock's in it. Lily Kay, who plays the daughter in Your Honor, which was a 2 seasons on HBO. Brilliant show as well. I encourage you to see it. So put that on your radar.
Hell yeah. Absolutely will. I saw Saltburn and I was kind of mid on it. However, I did.
Really? Oh my God.
I enjoyed the acting and I thought they shot the shit out of it. Beautiful cinematography.
Yes. The cinematography, stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, that house.
Yeah. Especially that shot that they put the camera on the ground and they find Homeboy. Now, it won't spoil the thing, but they find a person in a place and you got the statue and the reaction. And
it's a sacrifice, bro. I mean, it's a testimony to pretty much what Cat Williams was saying. But anyway, how come you were kind of poo-poo on the movie overall, though? I thought it was brilliant.
So Zara pointed out that the general plot of just like what the main person does and the end that they get to, trying not to spoil it. Zara pointed out that like that's the plot of like a lot of movies that you see on like Lifetime. Just this was done with a higher budget and bigger actors. Like she's seen this like narrative structure before.
Okay, so she wasn't kind of she wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe this is where this ended.
Yeah, and I got that too. But then I was looking at it and I was just like, okay, this one character, Farley, is just mean to this guy for no fucking reason. Okay. And then and he's just like always here to be this person, an asshole to this person, and they didn't really flush out his character.
See, and I totally got what that was about because I feel like my inner soul is a gay man. I was like, this is 2 bitchy gay men who like the same guy. That's how they behaved.
Yeah, that's absolutely how they behaved. And yeah, fair enough.
Like, bitch, like, what are you doing sniffing around my man? And it's kind of like a, bitch, your man sniffing around me. Like, even though it wasn't a sexual dynamic because they were related, but the bitchiness between the characters was that of someone invading. So like, it's almost like when you know someone's sniffing around your man and you know they like him and you know that your man has a reaction to them, whether they like them or respond to it or not, you know it's there.
Okay. So it's almost like a chemical reaction that you have to, you know, it's almost, yeah.
I got cheated on. Well, not really. I cheated on a boyfriend once and we broke up. Having said that, when we were together, I went with him to a Spanish class one time because he was like this. I'm in this Spanish class that I take at night and it's 20 people. 18 of them are girls. And it's me and one other guy. And he goes, and quite frankly, like every time we get it, like there's a break in class or, you know, it's like girls want to just talk to you and do homework. Like I want you to come with me to class so that they know I have a girlfriend. And I was like, okay, cool. So I put on my cutest little getup because I was like, 18 girls is still a lot of girls. I mean, I know I'm cute, but I mean, I'm not 18 girls. Like, I'm not Naomi Campbell. I can't like knock out 18 girls in a single bound, like because of my beauty. So I was like, let me kick this up a notch without looking like I tried. I was not worried about anybody in this room except one. It was something about the way she so confidently walked up to my boyfriend with me standing there and was like, what's up? And he was like, hey, like there was a comfortability with them that I was like, if he ever cheats on me or ever broke up with me, he's going to date her. I felt it. And it was the way she looked at me. She was like, hi. Like she knew you break up with him for even 30 seconds, I'll get him.
See, I wonder if there's an extended edition of Saltburn where there's maybe one more scene with that character where they give that motivation.
I see. So you didn't see, right. So it wasn't threaded into the fabric of the story for you, whereas I just kind of picked up on it as a like, like, oh, so you think you can get him, huh? But it wasn't a sexual dynamic between Farley and Felix because they were related, but the dynamic between him and the main character was that it reminded me of that.
Right.
And no
Were they
sooner that
related?
boyfriend and I broke up, guess what? Who'd he get me back with? Her.
Wow.
And then we got back together, but he was like, "Oh, by the way, I hooked up with her," and I was like, "I knew you would."
Ha! Damn.
Because like it was the way she looked at me, like I can get him.
Right.
And the reason she felt that way is because there was an entrance that he was giving off, whether he knew it or not. I was like, you're giving off something that's making her feel confident. I don't blame her. I blame you.
Not really like shutting it down the way one probably should. If somebody's flirting with you and shit, and you have a girlfriend.
He was eating a health bar, and she walked up to him, and she was like, "Give me a bite of that," and she just bit it, and I was like, why would she feel comfortable doing that unless she felt comfortable doing that?
Yeah, who does that?
Right. And then we had to go out with his class for like a Spanish movie or whatever. And as soon as he and I walked in, she was like, "Hey, I saved you guys a seat." This bitch, again.
Right.
That was the dynamic. So for me, it worked immediately. I was like, oh, as soon as he was like, I was like, yeah, because they're each other.
Okay.
We've both
I'm gonna go back and watch it
in his space. I'm gonna watch it again. I loved it.
And
Have
then,
you seen Talented Mr. Ripley?
Yes, a long time ago.
Okay, which did you like better?
I liked Talented Mr. Ripley better.
Interesting.
But I saw that when I was in film school, and that,
and that has Philip Seymour Hoffman in it, and you who can beat him?
Right.
I mean, he steals that movie for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, he's, R.I.P. He's a legend.
Yeah,
Oscar winner.
He's like a Gary Oldman to me. He's Gary Oldman level for me.
Oh, yeah.
Anything he's in, I'll see it. Anything.
Yeah. I mean, shit, even in Mission Impossible, he carried that Mission Impossible movie where he's the villain.
Love him.
All the other villains in Mission Impossible movies are just like Bond villains. They're just like, cartoon villains, right?
He always brings a little texture to his thing. I don't know. Maybe I just got a thing for people who do heroin. Anyway,